Welcome back once again, everybody. It is your boy, Saint, in the building.
Don Khalif.
It's your boy, Big Shalom.
And we are back once again with another episode of the Real Talk Podcast on the Afterlife channel. And also, if you get the chance, be sure to please
Like and subscribe.
and comment. Let us know what y'all think.
And don't forget to turn on your post notifications so you're notified every time we post a video.
All right, let's get it.
Enjoy the video.
Enjoy. When are we gonna start understanding, man, that like school is fine, but it hasn't changed not one bit. Like
It hasn't.
I don't see graduation rates going up.
It's actually doing the opposite. They're saying like in California, there's like it's like the first time ever like there's like a percentage of like a decrease of like kids like not even attending like school like the first years.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's absolutely sad, man. That's mortifying. Like, why do we consider that, hey, look, these kids are the future and that the education is important, but we don't care about the education. So we dang sure don't care about the children. Because, like, hey, look, I know our biggest thing when we were growing up, especially for me, it was we are learning things we will never use again. I have not been asked to do a Pythagorean theorem in years.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure I won't.
Me neither.
Unless someone tells me at gunpoint, hey, yo, what's the Pythagorean theorem?
Just shoot me. Because I forgot.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure everybody in the comments like, yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah.
But really, we aren't learning, like, that's just number one problem. Like, hey, look, school, we are grinding so much in school and classes, and we are sacrificing so much for it. And paying? We have to pay to work? Like pretty much. And we're doing all this to learn something that we may not use ever again if we don't even want to go into college. Like, yeah, I get, hey, look, you want to focus on education, get into the college, get what you want to do. But, okay, what if you do something that, hey, look, college may not be able to help you with that. Say if you were an art student. You know, if you into, the arts, be it film, dance, music, it's still a gamble. Like, you can still do these things without the degree. Not saying that this should prohibit you from going into it. I'm just saying that actually care about the students with the education. Like you will have people caring more about the A's, B's, and the C's if you have them learn stuff that they actually like to do.
Wait a minute. With that, so basically what you're saying is that it's like C students, like B, C students basically have more of a chance of becoming like more like successful as opposed to like an all A student or all F student.
Man, they got more of a chance of being happy.
I think so. I agree with that.
Let that system in the soul real quick.
I agree with that.
They got more of a chance of being happy.
What do you think, Big J? I'm gonna call you Big J because like,
It's all good.
Yeah, you already know. I'm gonna laugh if I just
spit in the bar mitzvahs. Let's go, dog.
I don't like the way this question is worded. Just for that last word being losers. I don't really.
You know what I meant. I didn't mean.
No. I know what you meant.
Right.
But I don't think anybody per se is a loser.
Right.
Everyone is their own individual selves, whether it be social, not so. It doesn't matter. Nobody's a loser. I think really what separates an A student to an F student, D student, C student, whatever, is motivation. You see all the students that were getting A's were motivated to do good, whether it be from their parents that were motivated, whether it be self-motivation, whether it be a friend that motivated them. They were seeing that they were actually smart in the subject that they were doing well in or the subjects that they were doing well in versus the students that were getting F's, D's, C's, stuff like that. They might have not have had that motivation. They might not have had that education push to want to do better, to do something like that. They might not have had someone to push them to want to do better. They might not have had the mentality to do that. They might not have had a teacher connection to be able to do that. That's why I think the true difference between those two is just your motivation. And a lot of the times the people who are doing poorer in school they're not motivated. They're not motivated to continue on with schooling. They're not motivated to do anything to continue on with schooling. And it's sad to see, but I truly think that is pretty much the only like difference that separates an A student, B student to a C, D, and F student. It's just your lack of motivation, and those that are doing good are highly motivated.
But who comes out happier though after graduation?
It depends.
But majority of time,
it
though.
depends what you define as happiness. Everyone defines happiness differently. Happiness to one individual could be, I got into the top 10 college in the world. Happiness to another person could be, I graduated high school.
Right.
I did it. Now I just have a regular job and I'm just working to build up money, and we'll see what I can do.
Right.
You know, happiness is defined as so many to so many people, as so many different things, that there's no true way to really answer that.
Right.
Because, I mean, I've met a bunch of people who were D, F students, C students, and I've met a whole bunch of people who are A students, and it just depends. They're all happy with their lives, but it just depends on what you truly can define or what you can say is happiness. Because at the end of the day, everyone's going to say, oh, it's the person who is just average, you know, getting B's, C's, and stuff like that, or D's even. They'll probably end up happier versus the A's. But the people that are getting A's can also be extremely happy because they got into a top college. They're doing really well at their college. They're right out of college, got this crazy job, you know, and versus a person who's getting C's and D's that could graduate high school and then just get a job and be really happy at that job, make a lot of connections, and who knows where that job can take them.
Right.
It just depends on what you would say happiness could be.
You know, speaking on that,
go ahead. What you say?
Speaking on that too, like everything that you just said, I totally agree with, and we need to stop with this notion thinking that, like, because I hear it all the time, like memes and like social media and stuff like that. People think that like you're more likely to become like a successful CEO or like a millionaire if you're just a C average student, or even like an all F student, and people who are like A's and B students are more likely just to be like teachers and stuff like that, because people say like all the time, well, Steve Jobs, he dropped out of Harvard, or Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of school. I mean, I'm like, yeah, but they dropped out of Harvard though. You know what I'm saying? They didn't drop out of high school. Is this what I'm saying? It's like, if they're smart enough to get accepted to Harvard, then obviously they already had the intelligence before that. You know what I'm saying?
But also those names specifically realized at a really young age that they were already more gifted than anybody their age and anybody older than them. Even at a really, really young age, they realized they were better than everybody pretty much in that sense. So, I mean, it makes sense for them, but it goes back to it, you know? It's all about your motivation. You could do anything you want in this world.
Right.
Literally anything you want in this world. It's just a matter of, are you motivated and are you dedicated to doing what you were wanting to do?
You know what, man? It's like,
but that goes back to, you know, your happiness can relate back to all that, you know?
Right. Hey, look, because look, I want to add on to what, like, pretty much what you said. I want to say the real losers in this situation, to me, the real losers is the education system. And I will not change my opinion on that. Because they are the ones that are failing the students, and I would say that the students are actually the victims. Yes, I use the curse word on social media, victims, and I mean it, and it's factual. You can check the facts, because they are the ones that are getting the brunt end of everything when it comes to the education system. They are failed because the number one agenda of the education system is to do what? Get them ready for the world.
I don't even think get them ready though. It's just get them ready to work for the world.
It's just
at another job.
I like that.
You know,
because that's exactly
true.
true.
Your mind into what they think is the real world.
Yeah,
exactly. And all of us knowing that's not true. But the sad part is, a lot of these people don't know. A lot of these people go throughout school having their own dramas, their own personal battles, be it at home or at school, and they don't know the information that we know, and that's why I say, hey, look, we're blessed to know this information. I always I'm taking knowledge that, hey, look, I'm blessed to have this knowledge that I have and this wisdom.
You know, that goes back to
Go ahead.
That goes back to our I think it was the last podcast or the podcast before that. We were talking, and we brought up about self-learning. You learn best from yourself. Right. As many times as these teachers, whether it be a high school course, a college course, a grad school course, or PhD, whatever, any at any level of your education, it's you're learning from yourself. You know.
Right. That's right.
It's true.
You are learning from yourself. And so
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh no, all I was gonna say was like when it comes to the question at hand, it is that everybody has the potential to miss out on life. Everybody has the opportunity to gain in life. Everyone has this opportunity, and the only problem that we have to stop doing is just putting so much power and belief into the school system, thinking that that is the grand ultimate decider of a person's value.
It's true.
Because it's not. Like, the thing is that, hey, look, I could never have gone to school, read the right amount of books. Not saying that it would be this easy.
No.
But I'm just saying, hey, look. Possibly I could be smarter than most of these people that go to school.
Totally.
You know, we know people that we
It's
can
about
possibly...
preparation.
Exactly. Like we probably know some people who go to college, and we're like, y'all some dumbasses. Like this.
Oh yeah.
But
totally.
like they
I've met
make the
people-
good grades and everything.
Yeah.
But they some dumbasses. You know. But we know some people who don't do well in class, but outside of it, they smart.
Yeah, man.
That was me. Like you
It's just a matter of street smart versus book smart.
like I couldn't pass a test to save my life, but like
Talk about it.
as far as like, I mean, like I don't know, like I'm not even trying to like flex or anything, but it's just like, you know, it's like you ask me like the qualitative theory of whatever, like some shit that something that we probably learned in algebra, I probably won't even know. But you ask me how to turn $100 into $2,000, I can do it. You know, I mean, but Big J said though, it's about like how you define success. That's how I would probably define it personally, but it's up to like the individual though. So, like,
It is,
what
yeah.
I think is probably different from like majority of other people. So,
But see, you know, I don't think the education system per se helps you get into what you're trying to do in life. I think it motivates people to stop schooling after high school. And I truly think that if you continue on, there has to be some kind of push to you to be able to do it, some kind of motivation. But also, you know, a lot of teachers tell yourself, or they'll say, you know, oh, we're trying to help you better yourself in the future, we're trying to help you be better and whatever else. But realistically, you know, like we were saying, you know, it's all about your personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about how you take things personally and how you work with things, you know, and it's all about your motivation
Right.
to strive to do whatever you're trying to do. Because, you know, going to university and even going further than even a high school diploma, honestly, it's a lot of work.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of work. Whether you go to a big high school, a small high school, any high school, it's a lot of work. It's a lot
Yeah.
to do. And it's
But it's true. Like,
tough.
the system is failing these kids, though, because it's like,
Absolutely.
I was watching this video yesterday about like how different a car looked 100 years ago compared to now, and a house compared to now, and all these things. And then they showed a classroom like 100 years ago to what it looks like now. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
same curriculum, like it's all outdated, you know. And the truth is like the way the world is, like more, whether you like it or not, more people are gonna get jobs on like online, social media and stuff
That's
like
right.
that. So they need to have curriculums on things that
gonna
the world is
benefit
turning
people,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Especially because technology is only getting more
Yeah,
modified and getting better and better as we speak. Day by day, there's
Right.
something new piece of technology, some crazy something being worked on every minute of the day.
Right.
So I mean, it's only a matter of time until there's pretty much majority of the jobs will be through
Right.
social media, online platforms, stuff where you're kind of working through your phone or through
Yeah.
a computer or stuff like that, and you're not really working in like an actual 9-to-5 office job or something like that.
yeah. And realistically, I mean, probably in the 60s and 70s, you probably did need a degree to get a good job. But now it's like, now you don't. You know, you don't need a degree to get a job at social media and stuff like that.
You don't.
It helps, but
It helps, and
But-
it's all about, you know, your motivation. Like we've been
Right.
saying this
Right.
whole time, you know, because you could graduate high school and not go to university and be a
Right.
5-star photographer or whatever, videographer or whatever, or you could drop out of finish high school and be like a nobody.
realistically,
It's just about your
right.
motivation and your dedication and really trying to be the best at what you're doing because
Right.
you've made that decision and you have to push with it the entire way.
Okay,
But
look,
hold on,
this
let me just say
confused?
this. Let me just say
Okay,
this
go
real
ahead.
quickly.
Go ahead.
I got you. Hold on.
What's up?
But like, let me just say this though. Like, what jobs like really require? Okay, yeah, lawyers, doctors, things like that. Of course, you need a degree. Of course, you need to go to a top school. But what other jobs like realistically in today's world? What do you like? What job do you need to have a degree in to like
Accounting.
get that job?
Oh, there's a couple things, man.
Accounting.
Like,
Accounting? Do you really need a degree?
Yeah.
All right, accounting,
hey, look, like
You need to have an
engineering would
accounting
probably be like the
degree.
number one thing.
Yeah.
Engineering,
engineer. Yeah, of course.
anything that has to do relate with mathematics,
Right.
science. Like these things require a degree, and not
Right.
a degree.
Right.
But you know what? I would say this: I'm gonna agree and disagree with both of y'all at the same time.
What are you
Follow
thinking?
me. I'm saying that it's all gonna be about understanding how to work smarter than harder. That's really all it's gonna be. We have to start working. We have to stop working harder and learn how to work smarter. And working smarter, it depends on the individual. If you're someone who knows that they have a goal to do science and all these things, then yeah, put yourself in alignment that needs that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're someone who's just like, hey, look, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I feel like I can do this without the degree, then you won't necessarily need the degree. But it's all about working smarter. Work with what makes sense to you and what gets you in that position that you need.
Right.
Because rather than saying, hey, look, like, because that's the only that's the issue that I have, right? Because personally, there's I have work ethic, and I'm not trying to flex. I'm not trying to act like I don't.
Right.
But I know that I can sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like I can say, hey, look, one day I don't got my like right as we speak. Hey, look, I don't got my vehicle. I got jumped, and it didn't stop me from going outside trying to make money, take loans.
Right.
I ain't never took a loan, not a day in my life, and it hurts my pride that I even have to. But the reality of the matter is that I needed it, and I need to make that money back, because I don't believe in asking for money really, and it hurts me to even ask for money. But past that, just hey, look, like I know I can work hard, like crazy, but all that hard work, it may not lead to the fruition of what I want. So I need to know how to work smarter. What works best in my position as of where I am right now.
But the question, how would you teach, like, if you were a teacher, how would you teach a kid to work smarter rather than harder, though? Like in a classroom setting?
Because the thing is, your first instinct is to always work hard, 24/7. You're told this from sports players. You're told this from your parents. You're told this from friends, a coach if you're in sports. You're told this from, anybody. Work hard, work hard, work hard. So I get what you're saying, because the better way to probably make money is to work smarter, not harder. But how can you?
I would say even more than the best way to make money, it's the best way to live. Because that the thing is that rather than just ask, work hard, also ask them the question of what do you want to do with your life?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you want to accomplish? Like when I think about myself, I'm glad that I was asked, what am I into? What do you like? And I say, hey, music. I like the arts. I like music. But I imagine if I was in the mindset of someone who wasn't asked these things and I was just told, hey, look, you're gonna work this job, or you're gonna be doing this and this, because this is what's gonna make you money, I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be enjoying my life, because I wouldn't be doing something that I want to do.
Right.
It would be something that I was programmed to do.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
But I was
you're always
trained.
told to do something that you want to do. You're always told to work in an atmosphere that you are happy in. Whether it be, honestly, when I think of happiness, especially about to graduate college, I think of a job where I'm happy at.
Yes,
I don't care about pay. I really don't. At this point, I'll work as a freaking person who picks up leaves off the floor for however much money. If I'm happy doing that, then I don't care.
Right.
Money is just money to me at that point. I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Amen. And that's how it should be. And that's working smart. Because at the end of the day, not only are you looking for yourself financially, you're looking for yourself overall.
So then I guess it's smart and happiness then.
Smart.
'Cause you also gotta
no,
be
because
happy
happiness
with
is also
it,
part of
though.
the smart.
Yeah, so
That's the full
same
intelligence of the
thing,
whole
though.
thing.
Okay, fair
That's the
enough.
full
I see where you're
intelligence.
coming at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. See, there we go. Yeah, like that's the fullness right there.
So I got another question for you guys.
What's up?
So do you guys think that schools, and if so, what grades levels should you start learning about, sex and drug education? Should they have sex and drug education courses? And if so, what grade level do you think should start learning? Should they cut it off at? And stuff like that, and why?
I say, honestly, I'd say high school, because to be honest, I don't see like a lot of like middle schoolers doing drugs and stuff like that. But I would definitely say high school for sure, because that's the time when like that's when you're gonna be doing like those like experiences and stuff like that. So I just think that freshman year, the earlier the better, because teachers and adults in general are already gonna know this is what these kids are gonna be doing these like next 4 years. So it's better for them to be smart about it,
and to be educated,
and to be educated about it. So when they do it, they'll be prepared. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what do you think? I'll chime in last.
All right.
I would say.
I'll play a little fun game here.
Okay, awesome. I would say. I would say stick to educating them when they're 12. Specifically when they're 12.
About what though, specifically?
Oh, I would say both. Like about the drugs and about the sex.
12?
12.
That's pretty young, bro.
That's when I learned.
Let him explain it.
All right, go ahead.
Because that's when I learned. That's when they had the whole teacher come in and explain sex and condoms and all this stuff, and we also had times where we were explained to crack the whole. We talking the whole 9 yards. I'm talking the whole egg video and the pan and the fry. And I would say that because my indifference on it is that the classes are good to have, but I say you need to focus less on the classes and make more resources. Like that's what needs to be handled. Like have the class, because at the end of the day, that child, because 12 is the most important age, like that middle school
I agree
year.
with that. Yeah,
because that's the most developmental time when their brain fully develops a wrong or right conscience. And so it's good to have that class right there, but to really help, I would say, hey, look, like have those resources just there, because honestly, our high school didn't really have that. At least from
we had none. I don't think so.
We had nothing like that.
Like
we didn't have no.
There's a lot of things I didn't know in high school. They didn't teach us.
Hey, look, because look, we're not gonna say any names, but look, we knew someone who got pregnant.
Oh, we know a lot of people that got pregnant.
Right. But like, imagine what could have imagine, because like these people had stories of like they got disowned by their parents, or their parents were very disappointed in them, and like Brenda had a baby Tupac kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they had no one to go to. They had no resources. They were just left alone. So that's what needs to be done, is focusing on these resources. People need those. Right. Give these people a space to where they can go and get some real help.
What do you think, Big J?
So, technically speaking, when I think of the word drug, especially when it comes to younger age kids, I think one quote-unquote drug that's huge and up-and-coming still is nicotine.
Right.
I think that I know personally a lot of middle schoolers who smoke nicotine and are always buying these different disposables and pens and this and that and all that stuff. And so in terms of drugs, I want to put that under a drug, because they are underage and they shouldn't be doing something like that. So I mean, if that was the case, and I truly think that by like 5th grade people should be learning about drugs and sex. I mean, look, it's something you're curious about. You're going to go into middle school where your grade sizes might be bigger. Your friends might have heard something from their parents or their friends or whoever knows, and then you're eventually gonna figure stuff out, and rather hear from a teacher to actually teach the subject than experience it, or hear it from friends and then want to experience it, and that could go down south and go downhill from there, depending on if it's the drugs or the sex that you're getting into. Rather, hear from a teacher where they can actually give their education on it and what they learn and what they know about it, rather than try to experiment, try to do this stuff.
Right.
And I think by 5th grade, you can really install the student and really kind of put a little bit of fear into them in the fact that they realize, like, wow, I just got a whole lecture for an hour on nicotine products and how bad nicotine is and how disposables are this many cigarettes. Or I learned about all these sex facts and this and that and being smart and all that stuff, you know. But yeah, I really think probably about like 5th grade you should learn about it, just so you know about it, so when you're older, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, when the opportunity arises to maybe, or even as you get old, when you get older, 9th, 10th, 11th, if the opportunity comes where you want to do a drug, where you want to have sexual intercourse or do something sexual with a female or a male or anyone, you know what to do and you know how to do it.
Right.
You know, I like what you... Hey, look. First off, I'm going to shake your hand because you got a testimony out of me right now. I'm about to speak on it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Hilarious. Nah,
Don't
like...
forget to like, comment.
Subscribe.
Nah, something like that. Something like that. In fact, it's going to be more like, wow. Because it is a wow to me right now when I think about it. Because I think about... Honestly, and I'll ask y'all the question about it later. But for me... I learned about, well, like I didn't learn anything, but I was involved.
No, I'm listening to what you're saying.
You didn't learn anything.
No, because here's the thing, like, for me, I feel like I got into the world
more
of...
specific.
I know, I'm just building up the words,
Go
I'm
ahead,
trying to
yeah,
phrase
right.
it right.
Right.
Relax, okay? But, for me, I had a bad introduction to sex, alright? Like, I'm not saying that it was terrible. It's just that I think to myself, the way that I learned about it was very bad. Like, before, at the time, I was like, yeah, like, this is just like, hey, look, it is what it is. But now that I'm older, I think to myself that, hey, look, like, I would never want my child to ever find out like that about sex. About anything like that.
Man, bro, no one's gonna hit you in the DMs after this podcast.
Nah, bro, it's fine. It's fine.
Lady,
Chill,
slide
dog.
in his
Bro,
DMs. Teach him how it's done. No, I'm just kidding.
Hilarious, dog. Whoa, dog. Chill, dog. But no, it's like, cause like look, like gentlemen. For me, I had like for me, I I viewed porn the first time when I was 9.
9? I thought 11 was bad.
Nah. Like, I viewed it when I was 9.
Dang, bro.
And
What the hell are you watching? What the fuck?
and that's the thing. Like I'm really wondering how the fuck did I stumble onto this at the time. Like, it was like a video. It was legit a website, and it had a suggested video, and that was the shit it showed. It just showed one of them, and that's what happened from there.
I learned
it's
from my
like,
disgusting friends. Continue.
Hilarious. I'm sorry, dog.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Disgusting
man. That's
people.
not cool.
You
That's
know who
not
you
cool.
are.
That's not cool at all.
Right.
But no, like, this kind of shit, like, it's not even drama. It's just like it can be traumatizing. Like it can affect
Oh yeah.
a person's mind on how they view sex and how they engage it.
Right.
Well, if you connect it to porn, of course.
Exactly, and especially at 9, because like that's like my mind is a sponge. Your mind is a whole sponge to life. Like, you don't know nothing.
I
too
mean,
much
even
shit.
now, I feel like a lot of guys try to get their quote-unquote sex game, from porn.
Yeah.
And they try to relate their, sex moves and their whatever they do in bed
From porn.
based off of what they just watched probably like an hour before you just got to his place.
I'm gonna try this.
Like...
Right.
It's been like that. Yeah. Hey, look. I thought I was doing that same shit.
Oh, God.
But
Joseph really opening up this pot.
it is what it is, bro. But like, it's just that, like, hey, look,
Some.
hilarious. But no, like, the thing is just that, like, I seen that, like, how easily accessible this was to me as a child.
Dude, it's
That's
accessible to any.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
That is the problem.
Like, I was about to ask y'all, like, do y'all think that, like, this accessibility to what kids have, and like,
Absolutely, bro.
it's like a down. It's like a
It
major,
just really all
major
depends
down.
on their parents. Though. 'Cause,
Nah.
like if I gift my son a phone, if I give him a phone,
Yeah, you should
then
know.
I'm kind of knowing that he's probably gonna look up something dumb.
What?
He's probably gonna have in his Google search, depending on his age, like boobies and
Fortnite,
tits and
Fortnite
like
tits.
some stuff like Fortnite and boobies and stuff, just random stuff like that. So I kind of feel like it just depends on what you're opening up your child to. Because, I mean, yeah, a lot of where your child probably gets his knowledge from and where he gets all of his facts and stuff from might be from a friend. But it just depends, because that friend might have access to the phone. And it just depends on, what your kid has access to and who your kid's hanging out with. But, like...
And see, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, if
I
I
don't
was
think it's
told...
I don't think it's horrible just because...
Because, I mean, I didn't turn out bad.
If
like,
if you know about it at a young age, you're probably... If you've looked it up, if it just you stumbled upon it or whatever else, then comes your curiosity. Then becomes when you're curious about it. And curiosity at any age is not a problem as long as you kind of figure out your curiosity. You figure out the answers to the question, whether it be asking someone or figuring out yourself. It just depends.
Like, hey, look, because, like, no lie. Like, for me, because, like, when you were speaking about, like, hey, like, tell these kids when they're young. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if I was told the backlashes of stuff like this when I was younger, not saying I don't know what could have happened, because we don't know what could have happened.
Of course not.
But I feel like it would have been a lot different. Because, hey, look, like, the thing is that I thought that, hey, look, porn was cool. I thought it wasn't crazy. I thought it wasn't anything super, like, like, it couldn't affect nobody's life. But then I heard people talk about how that shit affected their life.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And it can really affect someone's life for a long time. And so I'm just thinking to myself, like, yo, if this can affect, like, from a child, and that child grows older, and they're still attached, because I'm pretty sure this is many people's stories. Like, in real life, like, they're probably young watching this kind of stuff, and then they get older, that could affect their life for forever.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I feel like it's good to have those kind of, like, those kind of classes available when they're young like that. That's not a bad idea.
But see, I really feel like a lot of the time the peak of your curiosity comes when you're probably in like 5th, 6th grade, because a lot of schools cut off at 5th grade, so then you have to go to like a new school, technically speaking, for 6th grade, which means probably a bunch of new faces, which means those people's knowledge on anything and everything can be a lot different than what you know. And you could hang out with them and they could start teaching you a bunch of things that you had no idea about. And then it becomes a curiosity. And that's why I teach them young, where they can go into these situations where they already know about whatever they're hanging out with and they're talking about or doing.
Hey, what about the drug thing, though? Because...
Drug thing?
Yeah, because...
Hey,
the younger, I just
5th, 6th grade, man.
I don't think.
Yeah, like middle school,
dude,
man.
If
middle
5th,
school.
6th grade, you have, by that point, most kids have a phone. If not a phone, at least access to a computer or an iPad at their house. One of those three, I can guarantee you, a kid has access to. Game over.
Yeah, absolutely.
All they need is one of those three, and it's game over.
Absolutely.
But just like
you give your son, okay, you need your computer to do homework. Okay, boom, go on the computer. I'm gonna cook dinner. Cooks dinner for 2-3 hours. Next thing you know, the kid's looking up, doing whatever on the web, and knows all these horrible things about drugs or whatever. You never know.
It's like,
it just depends on what you're restricting your kid to.
But like
have access
for
to.
them learning about it though at such a young age though.
So then you learn it to a certain extent, and you teach them it in a lighter way, but you teach them it in a way that it can let them know that doing such drug is bad for you and a poor thing.
Because
you're not gonna go into strict detail about crack or heroin when you're talking to a 5th grader. If you're talking to maybe like a 7th, 8th, 9th grader, then yeah, sure, you can go into more detail. You can start spitting real facts. You can start doing everything else. But for a 5th grader, let's say the topic or the drug is heroin. You're just gonna say there is a drug, named called heroin, and it's a really bad drug, and this is how you take it, and that's it. You don't need to go into further explanation. Right. Same with, any drug, even if it's just like a light drug like marijuana, alcohol, nicotine. You just say basic stuff, and then maybe in 6th grade they have another course, or 7th grade they have another course where it's more detailed and it's actually a lot more information and it's a lot more knowledge on these topics and these drugs and these sex and all this stuff, so that they can actually know more about it in better detail.
I can see that.
Yeah, no.
I just think it's a matter of installing it in their brains at a young age.
Right.
That
Just so they
makes sense. Yeah,
know about it, and then their curiosity, they can go to their parents maybe and ask them a question. They can go to a teacher and ask them a question.
Right.
They could go. I mean, it just all from there. It's just all about curiosity.
Sure.
But it's just just to make sure that they know about this stuff, so that when they might get into 6th, 7th grade, and let's say people are smoking in that grade, and they're like, "Oh, do you want this?" They're like, "Oh, what is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's nicotine." It's like, "What? Like, what is that?" Like, you already know.
Right.
You already know. Oh, nicotine is this, and the side effects are this, and whatever else.
But and it's like that too. That's like what I mean by like classes like that is gonna like prepare them for real life, for real. Not like the velocity of like a volleyball and stuff like that's gonna teach them like.
Oh,
Yeah,
those are real life lessons.
Yeah,
These are
exactly.
real life
And that's
things.
that's where you learn the best
Yeah.
in real life situations and real life scenarios.
Yeah.
You learn better off living a real life and living in the real world than in a classroom setting.
Yeah, for
Absolutely. Like I would say like those like these would be very helpful classes. But I would say that at the end of the day, I would say, hey, look, focus on making these resources. Like the classes is cool, but the focus needs to be in having these resources available. Like I'm not talking you have a guest speaker come in one day and they just tell you what they know about their
sure.
job.
Drugs are bad, kids. Don't do it.
Like, that's not enough. Yeah, that's not enough.
Right.
Because honestly, ain't nobody listening to that.
Right.
In fact, they're just glad that you just cut them out from class.
I know, bro.
Because that was it for
You
me.
remember that in high school?
Yeah.
The DJs would come in, drugs are bad for you. And then remember like the little thing that they make us say at the end of it? Kids, there's going to be a time when your friends are going to offer you drugs and you're going to know not to do it. Please.
Yeah, no. It
Please.
felt like lazy town. Like
I know. I was happy just to be out of class, like you said.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like we was just like, hey, look, we out of class. We chilling.
Yeah.
But nah, make these things available. Just tell people, and like, cause like the thing is that regardless of how people view it, a kid is still gonna view class as a class. Not saying that every kid will be that way. I'm just saying a lot of them are gonna be like, man, I'm just stuck in another class.
Right.
So nah, just have that resource.
But see, it depends on the individual to be able to want to take that resource. Because a lot of the times, let's be real, in almost any class I've probably taken, I go to class, I take it, and then I dump out the rest of the information. I don't remember shit.
But I don't
Exactly.
think information like that, because like that's real world stuff though. You know what I mean? I think, and like
But
a
I
lot
feel
of people,
like it's the same thing with this. It just depends on the person.
Mm,
It
right.
because,
really
like,
does.
but they're
'cause
gonna
you
have
could
like
go-
those experiences
you could go
already
into this
though.
class. You could go into this class
Mhm.
and actually be like, okay, I really want to know more about crack, heroin, the drug aspect, or
Right.
the sex aspect, and actually reach out to try and find those resources.
Mhm.
But a lot of the time, a lot of students, they just, exactly like you said, when they pulled you out of class to go to an assembly to listen to a pep talk or whatever, you were more excited that you got pulled out of class. You were probably just sitting there, not even gazing into the sky.
Yeah, and see, that's
Let's
what I'm
be
saying.
real. And so
That's what I'm
it
saying.
just depends on the person. Because
Yeah.
you could, there's a majority that were like you, like me. Let's be real. I was happy as hell that I got pulled out of class. I didn't care, and I would just sit there, man. I would just look into space, or I would just be on my phone, or I'd be doing something else, or I'll talk or do something. It really depends on if you're wanting to know more, if you're going to seek out for advice and for those resources.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what
But
I'm
that's
saying.
why you install
need
it in
those.
the younger minds, so that as they grow up, if curiosity does become their thing and they become more curious about such topics, there's resources for them to go to and there's resources for them to reach out to. Rather 7th, 8th grade is, by then you already know a decent amount, and what they're going to be teaching you and going over is probably stuff that you've already learned because you've already heard it, or if you already Google searched it, or someone's told you about it, or something else like that, or you've seen it in a movie, like stuff like that, you know?
But
Yeah,
not, yeah.
Just a
go
matter
ahead.
of reaching out for those resources.
Right, I feel
guess.
that.
But yeah, that's the I would just say with your point, Johnny. Yeah, it's really just gonna be, when it comes to that, it's just a matter of, like, that's what I'm saying though. Like, the classes will only go so far
You can only teach your students
because
so
it'll
much.
only work. Because for them, it'll only work because of the value they put on that class. Like, like the value of learning about crack to one student is gonna be different than the other. Like, one person like that, like one student may not ever encounter these drugs, so they may not really care. But hey, some person
One might learn how to sell it.
Exactly. So they'll really probably care.
Right.
And they'll be like, yo, I've seen this thing affecting me and people and
Right.
family. I need to learn about
Right.
this. I need these resources. Because at the end of the day, we got to accept that people are going to do what they're going to do. That's why I
Right.
say get them when their minds is at that age of beginning to develop the conscience. And that's usually around 12 years old.
Right.
And that's the time when they start making their own decisions, when they start having their own freedoms and all this stuff. Because as soon as you put it in their mind, then after that it's like, hey, look, they do what they want to do.
Right.
Real talk, they do what they want to do.
You know, a teacher, especially
And we gotta keep
in
it real with the
school in
kids, because we
general.
gotta stop pretending like they were not gonna do what they're gonna do, like they're just gonna follow every single letter to the T. No, they're gonna do what the hell they want to do.
Right.
If they want to take some crack, they'll do it.
Yeah.
If they, cause that's like that's also why we gotta stop baby languaging children nowadays, because a lot of them be talking to them like they're babies. They're not.
It's mind over education. It's about what you think is the right thing to do, what you think is the wrong thing to do, how your mind can, what you think is right and what you think is wrong.
All right, that's judgment of character at that point.
Versus what you're learning. I mean, a lot of the times, a lot of people want to actually experience how they feel on a certain drug,
Right.
or maybe doing a certain sex position, or doing a certain sexual thing, or whatever it may be. They want to learn and they want to do it. And whatever they've learned, they're going to throw away. They're just going to say, screw it, I'm going to try it. I don't care if I just sat in a 3-hour-long lecture about heroin and I learned how it's horrible, and I learned all these facts, and I watched all these horror stories and whatever else. It's if they want to try it or not, really.
Hey, look,
Because a lot of
everybody
kids
be learning.
nowadays, if it's on their mind, if it's on their brain, the second it hits their mind, the second it hits their brain, they're more than likely probably going to try and do it.
Exactly. And look, besides, everybody be learning. Now, I should put on a condom. I should probably think about, having condoms. Yeah, we still be having single parent households. We still be having teenage pregnancies. That's still a thing.
That's because their plugging is weak.
I feel like even as a third grader, I knew to wear a condom if I didn't want a kid. Even before, as a freaking kid. So it's like, how does that even happen?
See, because you know the value of that information.
Right.
You know that at the value of me being 13, if I put this in,
Right.
a baby's gonna have me locked down like Akon.
yeah.
Like you don't want that.
Right.
But some 13-year-olds they'll just be like, hey, look.
I'm talking about 16, 17-year-old. I'm like, how do you? It's like you're at that point. It's like, come on.
See, a lot of
Yeah,
the
at that
times
point,
it relates
it's
to
a
one or
choice.
two things. It's, oh, I'm deeply in love with this guy or girl. I really think he or she is the one. Whatever else. Or I was too high. I was too drunk. I was on some drug. I was doing this. I was doing that. And that can exactly relate to how we've been talking this whole time.
Right.
If you educate the students of the future on these drugs and on sex, who knows how the world of drugs could be in 5 years. As long as you're pushing an education for it and you're teaching these kids, the world of drugs can die down. We don't have to worry about having like Colombia send to the US like 1 billion freaking pounds of like crack cocaine or heroin or whatever these guys are doing and smuggling over
Right.
borders and making in their basements and all this stuff. It'll definitely die down because people will be more educated and people might be more feared to want to do something and want to try something.
Yes, sir.
But it just comes down to the individual and your mindset on it.
Right.
Like, if you
Yes,
really
sir.
want to do it, you're probably going to do it. And if you really didn't like it, at least you could say, I've tried it.
Right.
And if you did like it, then, well, you could probably go downhill from there. it just depends
Go
on
downhill.
your motivation and how dedicated and how, you realize that what you're doing could be bad for you.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be doing said drug or said sexual
Act.
interact, often.
Like when you teach a kid something like that, you just got to be transparent with them, bro. Like, it's like what you say. Like if we are gonna talk about these things like at a young age for a kid, you got, like you say, like you don't got to be like too much in the details, but you got to like understand, like, kids at the age are just curious about things, and
Exactly.
The best
the way
way
you teach them is like You just teach them like how you would probably teach yourself. You know, all right, this happened, and this is why this is bad for you, and this is why you shouldn't do it.
Yes. And I'm gonna say it again to any parent who's watching, and I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who has been parented, and just off of something that makes sense, that just makes logical sense. Because Chris Voss, I said it before, he's a FBI negotiator, and he has said that when he is teaching his, kids, and when he's talking to his children, he says, my focus is to not guide their thinking. How I parent instead, like this is how I believe parenting should be done, is having that child think.
Right.
And that's what it should be. You are motivating that child to think. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, they're going to be their own individual. They're going to do what they want to do. Because rather than spank you for smoking, have them understand.
It wasn't even my fault, yeah.
Like, have them understand and think about that. Because, like when you're young, a certain age, you have to tell them straight up.
Me, you know?
Right. Like when you're when you're young, at a certain age, you got to tell them straight up, hey, yo, don't do this.
Right.
But when it gets to a certain age, you tell them, like, hey, look, let me talk to you.
Right.
And help you understand.
Right.
Not dictating your rule.
Right.
You're just talking them through it and having them think for themselves and having them understand, like, maybe this isn't good for me.
Right. It's the best way to go about it. But I think, honestly, like, that's like it's been an hour already.
All right. So you want to
I was about to...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Even sit down.
Go ahead. I'll do 2 parts then, like part 1, part 2. Make it like less time for each one or something. All right, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I think the best way a kid will learn when it comes down to these 2 specific topics, sex and drugs, is from experience and experimenting. Now, 2 hugely different things, but I think when it comes down to these 2 specific topics, those 2 things are gonna be the difference. Your experience in maybe doing said drug or doing such sexual act, and you're experimenting if it's your first time doing such sexual act or said such drug.
Right.
Or if you've done it before, you're still experimenting, trying to figure out new things and do new things. So just, those are 2 definite things that when it comes to this specific topic of sex and drugs, it's just about your experience and your experimenting.
Agreed. Joseph?
Man, I said I was probably said. In fact, hey, look, I want to ask y'all a question instead, because I was gonna relate it back to the whole sex talk, right? On my sex talking. But do y'all think? Because I think there should be. But do y'all think that in these sex ed classes that they do, they should mention pornography?
Totally. I think it's a normal thing. I think it's a normal thing for any gender to watch porn. I think anybody and everybody watches it or has watched it at some point in their life. And I think, there's not really much to, really go about learning of it. It's just pretty much these are actors and actresses getting paid to do such sexual act. Some of what you're watching might be real, some of what you're watching might be fake, this, that, whatever else. A lot of it is scripted, so on and so forth. There's not much versus a lot of actual sexual topics you can get into. I feel like it could be mentioned. It's just like, hey, so there is porn, and that's what porn is, and that's it. But I don't know. It's definitely something that it wouldn't bother, it wouldn't hurt to be spoken about. Just a quick little mention, quick little talk.
Right.
Maybe just like a couple minutes.
Because I think about how it's interesting how you learn everything else about.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I think we gotta wrap it up though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, nah. I'm just gonna drop something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say this, man.
Just wrap up about both topics.
Yeah, honestly, bro.
Just all 3 of us.
Right. Yeah, like I said, like we all said, kids are gonna be curious. They're gonna experiment with stuff, and probably gonna happen at a young age. So when it happens, parents, and adults in general just have to be ready for that and kind of just explain it to them and teach them. And so yeah, just teach them. So when they probably do it in the future, they'll be more experienced and more better prepared. So I think that's just the way to go about pretty much anything related to that.
What are your final thoughts, just to wrap everything up?
Right, just to wrap it all up.
On both topics we've spoken about.
Indeed. Final wrap up is, when it comes to sex and drug education, focus on the resources. The education is helpful, but it's not going to be the main staple. Have that resource available and educate them early, around 12. That's going to be my personal thing when it comes to it. And past that, when it comes to being a student, your grade does not determine your value. And the focus should always, like what we should be teaching instead, is the mentality of work smarter, not harder, rather than be an A student, be a B student. Focus on working smarter.
Right.
That's my final wrap up on that.
My little final thing is, there's no such thing as a loser. There's no such thing as anybody below anyone. Regardless of what grades you're getting, everyone is equal. It's just about your motivation to push yourself to want to do better. And as for, the sex and drug talk, the younger, I really do think the better, because then if they're curious, then, it just can lead to, it just all depends on the individual, but I truly think the younger the better, so that they can know more about it and not hear it from their friends or see it online or maybe experience it themselves, rather learn about it, or like we were saying, experiment and experience. It just depends.
Right.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment below if you want a topic that we want to talk about, if you have a question, if you like this video, anything like that. Turn on the post notifications, please.
Oh yeah, follow us on our social medias. Our links are in the description. Can you guys help me get to a couple more followers on Instagram? I would greatly appreciate it.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
Once again, if you want to talk, consultation numbers on the bottom of the description.
Big
All right.
Shalom out.
Don Khalif out. What's up, guys? It's Khalif here. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Talk podcast. If you like this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you'll be notified when we post another video. And yeah,